It led to Davos World Forum. Then it led to the UN. The UN came out and offered us $100 million to stop this investigation. Non-aligned nations have the rights to $371 trillion. It turns out that the non-aligned nations have legal rights to $371 trillion worth of assets. That's a huge amount of money. World GDP is about 60 trillion a year. So we're talking about something close to 90% of humanity's savings. And when I say this, I mean this is the stuff that is backed by gold and real assets. The cabal has created ridiculous amounts of bubble money. The cabal in the West have created astronomical numbers on their computers. I had to use a dictionary to look up things like quintillion, laughs, gazillion and bazillion. BF, 33 more zeros than a trillion. It's just not real. It's like people bragging. What does the rest of the world want to do with the money? So what were they planning on doing with all this money, Benjamin? Are they trying to change the world with it? Are they trying to bring about peace? What's going on with all this money? BF, well, what they're saying is the people who have been using it don't have the legal rights to it. They're saying they want to use the money for developing the planet, not to finance war. So, for example, a huge campaign to end poverty. Another one to stop environmental destruction. Then they're saying that instead of using these wars and all this development on arms and killing, they want it to be used for exploring the universe, designing space colonies and things like that. Really, it's about deciding what we, as a species, do in the future. Religious fanatics who didn't want to lose control. The people who have been running things are all religious fanatics who didn't want to lose control. They were literally planning to start World War III. The original plan was to start a limited war between Israel and Iran. They gave 12 neutron bombs on missiles to Iran. Remember, these kill people, but leave buildings intact. My source on this is a cousin to the Shah of Iran, and other people who said, "We don't want them. We want to give them back to you." Obama refused to take them back. Laughs, DW, as I said before, the unfortunate and obvious truth is that Obama seems to have very little real power over what is happening in his administration at this point, so I wouldn't have worded it this way if I were Ben. Start an Iran-Israel war and balkanize China anyway. They wanted to start a war between Iran and Israel, and use that to set up a military wartime regime in the G7 countries, ready for full global war. Then they wanted to have a war against China. I've seen a map. They were going to divide China into 6 countries. DW, from what my own sources are telling me, very recently, this plan has by no means been abandoned. They still very much want to create a war in the Middle East and Southeast Asia that would inflict mass casualties among people in those areas through conventional means. They intend to accomplish this goal without significantly damaging the environment, such as with nuclear weapons. Apparently, the United States tanks and war material have already been positioned for a surprise attack of the sort that could occur at any time, after the right provocation has occurred in the world's eyes, which they themselves would manufacture. They are worried about a massive counterattack. DW, their rationale, as I have heard, is that they are afraid the countries with the most number of religious extremists would turn against the Western world and exterminate everyone, if they had the economic strength to do it. The world economic breakthrough and loss of Western control described by Fulford would, in the eyes of the elite, automatically lead to the extremists planning a genocidal terrorist attack against everyone in the Western world within just a few years' time. Therefore, they feel they are doing everyone in the West a favor by trying to launch a massive preemptive strike with conventional weapons in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. I seriously do not believe the developing nations will strike the West. If their population numbers did surge to unsustainable levels, which is the other major fear of the elite, we will have all the declassified technology and resources needed to migrate off-planet. If anything, this latest plan clearly shows their weakness, as it reveals they are ruled by irrational fear and paranoia. You guys still don't get it, Karma is real. It works on an individual level, and it works on a global level. It just takes a little longer. Regardless of what they may or may not think they can accomplish, it seems likely that they will have no choice but to watch as these events unfold outside the constraints of their own parameters of control and manipulation. China stopped paying the bills for their own destruction, BF. This was their big plan. It started unraveling when the Chinese stopped paying the bills. They said, hey, we're not going to spend our dollars on something that is designed to kill us. That's what started this big financial war that has been going on behind the scenes. Pentagon, CIA and NSA are ready to act against the cabal right now. It's reached the point where I've heard that the people in the CIA, the Pentagon and the other agencies are ready to take action against the financial cabal. And that's where we're going to leave it until we come into the next break, because you made some statements in November about the White Dragon Society and them being against the New World Order. We're going to get back to my legendary guest, Benjamin Fulford. This is Sean David Morton, Strange Universe. We just work here. We'll be back in a few beats of your heart. Break M. This is Sean David Morton, back here with you. Ben, I would be remiss, let me ask you a couple of rapid-fire questions, as I'm not sure how long I have here. Will the Iraqi dinar be revalued? M. I have a lot of people asking me about the Iraqi dinar. Number 1. Any opinions on it? A lot of people have it. A lot of people think it may revalue. Other people think it's a total hoax. DW, if you are not already familiar with this, some folks believe the Iraqi dinar will skyrocket in value as the world economy changes. It may well be that this whole internet campaign has been put in place to identify those who are aware of what is really going on. I have not invested in diners myself, or been guided to. As you will see, the first thing Fulford says is if you buy these diners, your money's going directly into the hands of the cabal. M. Can you give me a quick shot or a quick idea as to what you think of it? BF, alright. What I understand is that when the Bush-Clinton mafia invaded Iraq, they bought all the diners at pennies to the dollar. They've been selling them to make money. People do not want the Bushes to profit from this crime. Their money will be frozen, and no decision has been made on bailing out dinar investors. However, at the end of the day, the Bush money and the Clinton money and Obama money will be frozen, all the stuff that was stolen by these gangsters that took over your constitutional government. This is something where no decision has been made yet. If the fat cats, the people who actually stole the diners from the Iraqi people, have their funds frozen, then for the small investors who have them now, some way may be found to help them out. This is something where no decision has been made at this point. Why not just take out the top people in a night of the long knives? M. This leads into my next question. Having kept up on your posts and your blog, having been a fan and following your work, you made a very prescient prediction in November/December of last year. You predicted, a little bit early, but close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades, that there would be some kind of reprisals in the form of induced earthquakes against the country of Japan. The reason you gave for this, and please correct me if I am incorrect, is that there are basically about 1,000 members of this cabal. If you talk about the Bilderbergers, CFR, Trilateral, or what some people have called the Incunabula, this inner core of people, there's about 1,000 of them. You have said there is a group called the White Dragon Society that apparently relates back to the old Taoists. This White Dragon Society has said there will be a night of the long knives coming, if you will. Within 48 hours, they could wipe out all of these world leaders. This threat was about to be carried out. You were saying that then a reprisal would take place against Japan, which many people interpreted as being the massive Japanese earthquake of March 11th. A mass assassination wouldn't solve anything, BF. First of all, the original discussion I had with these people was, if you could take these people out, you could solve the problem. M. Yes. BF. They figured they could take out about 200 people simultaneously. All at once. BF, yeah. But then, they realized that we're dealing with people who are looking for an excuse to start World War III. They realized that this would not have the consequences they intended or desired. They would be replaced with other Kabbalists, and they would get this war they were wishing for. So, a decision was made not to go ahead with something like that. Go after them through legal means, and cut off the funds instead. They chose a longer route, which is a legal one, to get at them through the legal system and also to cut off their funds, and blacklist them. That's what has been going on. They only control about 30 countries now. I think now they only control about 30 countries, when they used to control the whole world, or at least most of it. They're really down to a rump now. The euro is falling apart as a result because the real funds are being cut off to them. You can see the consequences with the euro falling apart. The reason the euro is falling apart is they are no longer getting money from outside of Europe to prop up these Mediterranean countries that have chronic deficits. Yes. BF, in other words, they are using their credit cards more than they can afford to pay. Who is going to step up and put these people in jail? Right. And you also, I am sorry to interrupt, but you've also said that many of these people are talking about fleeing and going to South America, or that there is some Deus Ex Machina that is going to come from the sky and put these people in jail. Who is this supposed to be? BF, I've been talking to people within the agencies in the United States, the CIA, NSA and Pentagon. They're saying they will move and arrest these people, but they haven't been doing it yet. That the United States agencies are waiting for the big lawsuit as a trigger. They keep saying they are waiting for a certain lawsuit to act as a trigger mechanism. That lawsuit involves the $371 trillion they have stolen from the non-aligned nations. Okay. BF, the cabal have been trying to block it in all sorts of ways. But what I'm hearing now is that it could go ahead in November, pushing the United States economy into a disastrous tailspin. Even if it doesn't go ahead, what's happened is that by not giving up control of the United States dollar, they are pushing the United States economy into a disastrous tailspin. When the United States dollar was accepted as an international currency at the end of World War II, it didn't become truly international until 1968. The United States was 50% of the world's economy. Now it's down to 17 or 16% of the world's economy. Most the United States dollars are being held outside the US. Most of the dollars out there are not owned by Americans. They are owned by Chinese, or Nigerians, or Saudis. When the Federal Reserve Board cabal wanted to devalue the dollars and put out the Amero, all the other countries said, "No! We've earned these dollars, and we're not just going to let you welch on it. We don't want them to become worthless." Lehman shock was caused by international blockade of the United States dollars after 2008. They stopped accepting new dollars from the United States as a group. This was something that was not reported in your media, although you can prove it. That's what the Lehman shock was about. They said, hey, we don't accept it anymore. Not everyone is blocking the United States dollars, but there is a split. There are places where they will accept these dollars and places where they will not. I had a friend who came here with a bunch of $100 bills and he went to the banks, and they wouldn't change them. He had just come from the United States. They said, no, we can't accept these bills. They don't have the right serial numbers. That is odd. I read that in one of your posts as well. Are Russia and the Pentagon now stopping false flag attacks? Are you on board? Because again, an outrageous statement was made which I sort of agree with. It seems like the two, white hat or black hat, I'm not sure who are the good guys anymore, the cowboys or the Indians. It seems like the Indians are the good guys and the cowboys are the bad guys. It seems like the two forces for good right now seem to be the Russians, under Vladimir Putin, because Putin is about ready to run for president again. And currently the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which are now being run by Admiral Fox Fallon, also appear to be the good guys. Admiral Fallon was the one that basically took over what was called Tyrant, which is the Iranian Near Theater, PH. Fallon was the one who stopped, personally, 6 different false flag events,